Great to have you back on State of the Frogs with your head coach, Sonny Dykes. Coach, we just finished polishing up Arizona Wildcats, 49-28 to improve to 7-4 overall. Congratulations. Tell us about last week's Arizona Wildcats.
Yeah, it's good to get a win. Always good to win, especially at home, especially on senior day. So thought our guys played well for the most part. Got off to a good start, had a little bit of a lull in the second quarter, and then to me, the touchdown before the end of the half was big to go up by 8. Then we got the opening kickoff in the second half and went down and scored, and we were able to pull away a little bit. Thought it was a good performance. Thought we played pretty well on offense, defense, and on special teams. And I like this team because we just keep getting better. And, typically you hit an area in the season where you don't really improve much, and this team just keeps getting better. And so I like the fact that we're into week 12 and still developing, still improving, and playing better week after week. And so that's what you want to see.
I think the 6 rushing touchdowns might be something to be proud of, correct?
Yeah, I thought we ran the ball better. I think we're doing that more consistently. Obviously, Savion has improved our run game for us. He's averaging, I think, right around 8 yards a carry every time he carries it. And it's opened up some lanes for other guys as well. We had, Jeremy Payne played well. Thought he did some good things running the football. Cam Cook obviously did some good things running the football as well. So it's good to see those guys, get some yards and make some plays. And obviously Savion did a good job when he got his hands on the ball. And so it was a good win for us. And, like I said, we just keep getting better, which I'm excited about.
And speaking about your defense, you held them to 38 yards rushing, which must make your defensive coordinator feel good.
Yeah, I think that's been the big thing for us has been stopping the run. And, we had a little a run there where we didn't do a very good job of doing it. We were pretty banged up up front, and it was good to get some guys back. Cooper McDonald and Marcus Steele, Hakeem coming back has made a big difference for us. Just gives us more depth, more size, more bulk up front. Really thought Marcus played well last week. So, he's going to be a good football player for us, a young guy that's continuing to emerge, and so good getting those guys back. Arizona's going to score some points and get their yards throwing the football, and they made some plays. They got a great receiver, and a quarterback can really throw it, and those two guys are hard to stop all the time. But I thought overall defensively we did what we had to do to win and put pressure on them by holding them on first down. That's important to us is defensively is get them into second and third and long, and then we can pressure the quarterback. And we were able to sack him and pressure him, which I think made all the difference.
You mentioned Savion, JP Richardson, who we just ran into a second ago, had a great game, and then Bech crossed the 1,000-yard mark for the season. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, it was good to see those guys. And Eric McAllister continued to make some plays. I was happy to see that. And again, we're starting to get guys that continue to emerge, and some young players are starting to get opportunities to play a little bit more as well. So good overall performance, and something we can build on for sure.
I want to ask you, one of your juniors, James Brockemeyer, your center, your transfer from Alabama. How's he been for you this year?
He's been good. Yeah, James, just what I talked about. A guy that the more he plays, the better he gets. I think he's made a huge jump from where he was early in the year to where he's playing today, and I think his best football is still in front of him.
Since it was the last home game against Arizona, Senior Day, you talk about the emotions the seniors were going through, including yourself. Was there anything noticeable?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of guys that have been here for a long time. You got, players like Brent Matisick that's a captain for us, and Brent's been here for a number of years, and came in under a different regime, coaching regime, went through a coaching change, which is always difficult, never an easy thing to do. And, to those guys' credit, there's a bunch of them that handled that incredibly well and just have been, have produced, and every time we need for them to do something, whether it's take a leadership role or do something from the team, those guys always step up and do it. And there's a number of guys like that have done that. And, you hate to see guys play their last game. I mean, we've got some really, really good football players and some guys that have played a lot of football for us that started their last home game, but that's just part of football, unfortunately. But I know it meant a lot to those guys. Yeah. I know they wanted to play well. It was important that we get a win and play at a high level, and so I was proud for them.
It's an incredible senior class you have. The Big 12 right now, Coach, seems to be in a little bit of a situation. Arizona State, BYU, Iowa State, Colorado all sit at 6-2 in the conference, and obviously TCU, Tech, West Virginia, and Kansas State are 5-3, so one game below. But these first 4 guys, how do you see this thing breaking out? Because everybody seems to know something or not know something.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, there's some interesting games left. Obviously Iowa State, Kansas State will be a heck of a ball game. That's 2 good football teams. I know Arizona goes to Arizona State, or maybe they go to Tucson, if I'm not mistaken. But that game is a rivalry game. Who knows what happens in rivalry games? I believe, Houston is going to play Colorado, I think in Boulder. And so, Houston's playing pretty good defense. So who knows? Who knows how some of these are going to play out. There's still some kind of mathematical chance that we get in. I'm not exactly sure. I know 3 of the 4 6-win teams have to lose for us to have a chance to get into a tie-breaking scenario. But stranger things have happened.
None of them play each other either.
Yeah,
right?
they happen. They happen in the Big 12 every week, and they could happen this week. So we'll just kind of sit back and watch what happens. The most important thing we got to do is go beat Cincinnati, and none of this stuff is a possibility unless we take care of business.
Very good. Thank you, Coach. We'll be right back with State of the Frogs. Your head coach, Sonny Dykes, with Mallory Mahoney's Student Questioner of the Week.
What do you see when you look up at the clouds? At Richard's Rainwater, we see the greatest source of pure, delicious water looking right back down at us. We've invented a simple, powerful technology to collect and bottle rainwater. Our process begins with the rain. When clouds become saturated, droplets fall from the sky. Rainfall is a naturally cleansing event. During the first few minutes, the raindrops clean the atmosphere and wash away any dirt or debris from surface areas. At this cleanest point in the rain cycle, we collect the pure raindrops into large storage vessels. Then, we use a simple, yet effective combination of ozone and microfiltration to ensure our rainwater surpasses the highest drinking water standards. We pour the pure, refreshing rainwater into glass bottles and aluminum cans, packaging as infinitely renewable as the water itself. Richard's Rainwater is building a network of collection systems across the country to ensure our rainwater is local everywhere. The purest, best-tasting water comes from the sky. Richard's Rainwater, sip the sky.
Welcome back to State of the Frogs. Your head coach, Sonny Dykes. We'll take it to Mallory James Mahoney with the Student Question of the Week.
Thanks, JW. Hey there, Coach Dykes, and happy Thanksgiving to both of you. I'm here with our Student Question of the Week. This is Dominic. He is a fellow freshman computer science major, and he's from Phoenix, Arizona.
Hello, Coach Dykes. I want to bring forth to you, it's Thanksgiving break. A lot of students are gone, as you can see, but you guys are still here practicing, and I want to understand, what is your schedule looking like? I know you have a big game Saturday against Cincinnati, so what are you guys doing to prepare for that type of game? And happy Thanksgiving to you and your family and your coaches and the players. And I'm excited to see you on Saturday and see what you guys do.
Good question, Dominic. I appreciate the Thanksgiving wishes. Same to you. Hope you enjoy the holiday and have a great one with your family. Yeah, it's a busy time for us, football season. I mean, it's just kind of the way it is on Thanksgiving. So we'll have a walkthrough that morning, and then our players will kind of have a Thanksgiving lunch together here at the stadium, and our families will come and spend some time together. And then a lot of our players will kind of, at that point, go to their families if they're local. If not, we'll probably have 30, 40 players at our house Thursday night. We'll have a Cowboy game on. Thursday's our early day that our coaches actually get to spend some time with their families, and that's when we do it on Thursdays. And so we'll have players at our house. It'll be fun. We'll have some food and have the games on TV and watch TV together and watch some college football and some pro football and just hang out a little bit. So I would think we'll have probably 50, 60 people at our house Thursday night. So it'll be a busy Thanksgiving, but a fun one, and that's kind of our tradition.
Safe to say, Coach, you never had a normal Thanksgiving in the traditional sense, right?
No, not too many. Yeah, it's always kind of been the way it is, growing up. My dad's teams were always playing, and we were always, hanging out with players or players' families or coaches or whatever it was. So that's kind of the way we do it.
Not a bad plan B. How are you in the kitchen, Coach? Are you any good at cooking?
You know
stuff?
what? I actually usually prepare some turkeys. Not sure I'm going to this year with the number of guys coming. What I try to do is turkey 3 ways. I usually do a fried turkey, a smoked turkey, and then cook one in the oven. So that's about the only thing I can cook very well, but I actually have experience cooking turkey. So,
love it. Happy Thanksgiving, Coach. Appreciate you sharing some of your personal thoughts on that. We'll be right back with State of the Frogs, your head coach, Sonny Dykes, to talk with Mark Cohen, Associate Athletic Director for Strategic and Football Communications.
Energy does everything for us. It's all-encompassing.
We're all benefiting and affected from it.
And it is something that we all need to know about.
It is the glue that holds everything together.
TCU is powering what matters, our future.
We don't just talk about what's needed, we focus on results.
The Ralph Lowe Energy Institute is creating a world where energy is affordable, sustainable, and reliable.
Welcome back to State of the Frogs with your head coach, Sonny Dykes. We are here with the Associate Athletic Director of Strategic and Football Communications, Mr. Mark Cohen. Welcome, Mark.
Thanks. Appreciate you having me.
Thanks for joining the show. We've known each other for a long time. In fact, you've been at TCU since 2005, yes?
2005. I know it's been a long time. When this year with Hoss Haney playing, I have my first father-son duo. My first year was Dad, Jesse Haney, senior year.
Very good, very good. Well, so that's a lot of years you've been in the Frogs. Any good memories you could share with us over that time frame?
You know, the best is just the relationship with the student athletes. You know, first and foremost, that's the best, favorite, most important part of the job. You know, it goes beyond what we do media-wise. You know, they become family to you. Like a Max Duggan with everything we went through with his senior year, with you know, the media coverage, the Heisman Trophy push. You know, he's like a fourth son to me. He's like an adopted son to me. You know, so just the best thing is when we win, you see the guys singing Riff Ram in the locker room. You know, you're with them day in and day out, from the start of camp in August to whenever the season might conclude. You know, just the relationships you build with them, and then, you know, the 22 season, you know, just being so magical, just finding ways to win that year. You know, the hip the toad in a hurry game with Baylor. You know, I don't think people realize, you know, we had a lot of guys under the weather that week in practice. A lot of people, you might have thought we were back in COVID. A lot of people were wearing masks. I mean, the flu bug hit the team really hard that week, and you had an emotional win at Texas the week before, and then you go to practice that week, and a lot of guys were sick. And then to find a way to win that game, and then especially in the manner we did with Griffin Kell having that field goal, you know, but I think just what went into that game, knowing what it was like that week at practice with all the illness, you know, that game, especially with all the Baylor students ready to storm the field. You know, that game just epitomized that team in the season. And, of course, the Michigan game will always stand out. You know, we felt pretty confident going into that game. And to win, you know, without ever trailing in the game, showing that we indeed belonged in the college football playoff.
You've been privy to a lot of great memories here at this place, and I imagine in the book when it comes out one day, we'll all look forward to reading that. So
I'm just fortunate, you know, just to be a part of a program like TCU. I think of all the people that work in my field and in my position, you know, whether you're NAIA, Division III, Division II, FCS, a group of 5, you know, how many people in my field would love to trade spots with me to be at TCU, work with Coach Dykes, work with Jeremiah Donati, Chancellor Boschini, and also have the city of Fort Worth. I mean, what a combination between TCU and the city you're located in. It's, you know, I really feel fortunate.
Not a bad gig. One of the reasons I wanted to have you here, Mark, is I've known you for a while, and your story is incredible, and it's more poignant this time of year, Thanksgiving, and with the team we're about to play, Cincinnati. You and your wife, Sarah, have 3 boys. 2 of your boys, Adam and Steven, have autism. So you're dealing with a lot of things that regard for autism. You also are quite accomplished in charity work for that cause, is correct? Tell us a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
Well, you know, it just made us all a better people. You know, when you, you know, have your second child, you know, 18 months roughly, you know, from when your first one was born, you know, you have the vision, 2 boys, you know, they're going to be growing up side by side, playing baseball together. You know, and autism just, it changed our family. You know, when the diagnosis came, when my middle son, Adam, was 2 years old. You know, he's about to be 30 now in another week or 2 on December 12th. And, you know, he's on the severe end of the spectrum. He's nonverbal. And then my youngest son, Steven, who's 25, he, you know, is high functioning. And he works part-time at Albertsons as a courtesy clerk, bagging groceries, bringing the shopping carts in. So many TCU people come by the store, they see him, they talk to him. You know, Bud Clark the other day was all excited to tell me that he goes, "Hey, your son bagged my groceries." You know, Bud was happy to see him at the store. And then, you know, Steven will also take care of his older brother, Adam. You know, Steven will make him lunch, and it's one of those that just kind of hits you, you know, where you have an autistic son who's taking care of his autistic brother. And then David, is the oldest.
That's where the twist in comes in for this week. Yes.
Yeah, he went into the family business. He works at University of Cincinnati in athletics communications. It's something he wanted to do from when he was 7, 8 years old, just kind of following me and tagging along to media days, to games. He worked in the office at TCU when he was an undergrad. And so it's pretty cool now that we'll see each other in the press box on Saturday. We'll swap some glances during the game. He loves his alma mater. He's all Frogs, but he's also pretty loyal to his school. And so nothing he wants to do more than see his team win on Saturday. He'll root for us to be 11-1. And then I'm going to actually stay at his house instead of the team hotel. So it'll be great to be with him, his bride. He got married in July, and they have a baby on the way. So I'll get to hang out with my future grandchild.
Well, great job being a dad to a lot of guys, especially your own boys. Thank you for sharing that, Mark. One more thing you do, the 9474 Foundation. Tell us a little about that, if you don't mind.
I was honored to be invited to join the board of directors at 9474. We had a football student athlete, Phil Taylor, here. He was a walk-on wide receiver. His final year, his senior season, was 2014, the Big 12 Championship season, the win over Ole Miss in the Peach Bowl. And Phil got into the senior day game when we played Iowa State, had a reception, and was just one of the most beloved guys in the locker room. Maybe the average fan didn't know the name Phil Taylor, but to his teammates, he was a revered guy in the locker room and a part of the program. He unfortunately had cancer not long after he graduated from TCU. He actually, besides being a football student athlete, he interned with me in the office. And just a popular guy on campus. Everybody that met Phil, the cancer got the best of him. And so he was alive for 9,474 days. And so a foundation was started by his family, to help those, young individuals battling cancer and to provide support for their families. So it's been 10 years, since Phil last played here. But you could ask any of the guys off that Peach Bowl team, and they'll speak incredibly well of what Phil meant to them.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for sharing it. That's an incredible part of your backstory. Before we get out of here, I do recognize a little bit of talent on the microphone. I see that you may be back in the Wofford days. You had a call-in talk radio show. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it was fun. I was working at Wofford at the time, but it wasn't a Wofford show. It was just a regular sports call-in show, and I would line up guests from Clemson and South Carolina. We'd talk NFL. I had to really get educated on NASCAR. I wasn't a NASCAR guy. I had to kind of BS my way through some of that discussion. But I would line up guests, and it was a lot of fun to do.
Awesome.
And then I think it was Sean Hannity that the station acquired, and then they told me it was nothing against you, but we've got another show that we're going to run in a slot.
Understood.
But I would, do the show. I think it was at 5 o'clock. And so I would print out, a bunch of AP copy just so, go through the sports world. But it was a lot of fun. I got a chance to pick the music when we were coming back from breaks. But maybe down the road be something
fantastic,
cool to do again.
Keep you on the list for sure. Before we get out of here, Mark, when does TCU find out about their bowl game? Whereabouts?
We'll find out on Sunday, December 8th.
Okay.
A lot is up in the air. Just, a big part is what happens this coming weekend. If you're 8-4, you're in a lot better position, than 7-5. And we still have a shot at the Big 12 Championship game. We are still alive in the mix.
We heard,
Obviously, you got to take care of business against the Bearcats and also get some help. But we are still alive for a spot in the Big 12 Championship game. But Sunday, December 8th will be a pretty fun day here because we'll find out where we're headed for the postseason. And we have both of our basketball teams playing at Dickies Arena that day. The men against Vanderbilt at 11:30. And, of course, our women, the number 17 ranked team in the country, taking on South Carolina at 6 o'clock.
Well done, Mark. Thank you, Mark, for joining us on the show. I appreciate you being here. That's been Mark Cohen for State of the Frogs, your head coach, Sonny Dykes. We'll be right back to talk about Cincinnati Bearcats.
Welcome to the Squire Shop. We are locally owned and operated since 1994.
We specialize in the finest men's clothing that the market has to offer at affordable prices with unbelievable service.
We do custom clothing all the way to more casual, Peter Millar, Johnny O, kind of everything. Well, my dad's the owner, so I've been around retail my whole life. Oh, it's great. I mean, it's the best boss I'll ever have. I know that.
We love our TCU community. They have been so good to us. Come see us today. Go Frogs!
Welcome back to State of the Frogs. Your head coach, Sonny Dykes. Thank you, Mark Cohen, for the insight into what's going on with the football team. Coach, Cincinnati Bearcats, and at the NIP, as they call it, the Nippert Stadium, 5 o'clock on Saturday coming up. Coach, what do you want to tell us about Cincinnati Bearcats?
Yeah, it's a big game for their program. I mean, they don't get too many night games. I believe it's the first one of the year, so it'll be a 6 o'clock Eastern time kickoff, so a night game for them. Senior day for them, and also an opportunity to get eligible for a bowl game. So big game for their program. They'll come out fired up. It's a good football team. You know, at one point they were 5-2 this year. You know, and really rolling, playing with a lot of confidence to beat Arizona State, who obviously is one of the teams competing for the Big 12 Championship now. And so really good football team. They kind of hit a rough spot here recently, but they've played some really good teams and been in some tight ball games. You know, it seems like every week in the Big 12, these games come down to 1 or 2 possessions, and they've been on the wrong end of a couple of really close games that they could have won. But a very good football team, kind of built around the offensive line that's got a lot of experience up front. They do a nice job running the football. Really well-coached, precision zone running team. They have a local quarterback here from the Metroplex that's a really good football player. He can throw the heck out of it. It's got a big arm. Good receiver core. Running backs are really, really good, big, strong, finish runs. You know, they're going to come out and try to run the football against us. They'll play action, take shots down the field. Got a lot of different guys that can make plays. So a really good offensive football team. Up front, defensively, they're really good. I mean, they've got kind of play that Iowa State defense. Their defensive coordinator is a former assistant at Iowa State. They play a lot of the 3-down stuff with the 3 safeties. You know, against this defense, you got to be patient. You got to really execute at a high level. Need to be able to run the football. It's going to be important for us to consistently run the ball. Stay ahead of the chains. You get in long yardage situations against this defense. It's not a good thing. So we have to do a really good job on first down. You know, got to get some positive yards, got to start drives off the right way, got to stay out of 3rd and long. You know, a big thing for us has been protecting the football. Got to continue to do that. So good football team, and it'll be a big challenge for us.
A couple of their notables, the running back, you mentioned the rushing game. They have a back-to-back 1,000-yard rusher in Corey Kiner. He seems to be pretty good. Big, powerful guy. I mean, runs really hard, finishes runs. You know, I'm impressed with what he does, and they have a kind of a grinded-out mentality on offense, and they do a nice job. And the godfather, as they call him, Dante Corleone, their defensive tackle, that's going to be a high-ranked pick in the draft, big defensive tackle.
Yeah, plays nose. You know, they're in the odd front. It's going to line up right over the center. A tough guy to move. You know, he's very physical, real strong, does a nice job at the point of attack, kind of handles both A-gaps. And so, you know, when you got a guy that can do that out of the odd front, it makes it tough. You got to figure out ways to try to create some movement up front and run the football. And so it's going to be a challenge for us.
The quarterback, the local guy you mentioned, Brendan Sorsby, did you have a chance to recruit this guy?
Yeah, Lake Dallas guy. Watched him play a little bit. He's really developed into a good little football player for them, and I've been really impressed with his ability to make all kinds of throws. You know, he's got a big arm, but throws the ball with touch, throws a catchable ball. You know, I think he's a really good football player.
And head coach Scott Sattersfield, any connection to him?
You know, really don't know Scott that well. Just kind of got to know him as he got into the Big 12. Obviously came over from Louisville, did a nice job over there, and had a really good program. So, you know, he's been successful a bunch of different places. His teams always win. They always have an identity. They're going to play tough. They're going to be physical. You know, they're going to play kind of a smash mouth brand of football.
Right. And before we get out here, Coach, it is rivalry week this time of year. A couple big games. Want to know your thoughts on a couple of them. Ohio State, Michigan. Any thoughts there?
Yeah, you know, I think Ohio State's a pretty good football team. You know, I think Michigan's struggled a little bit. Michigan's lost so many players the last 2 years to the NFL, and you know, I think Ohio State's probably going to have the edge in that one.
So, what about Auburn, Alabama?
Yeah, you know, kind of the same thing. Alabama's a little bit depleted. You know, a lot of guys gone on to the NFL from there. That one should be an interesting one because Auburn probably got a little bit of confidence last week in their win against Texas A&M. Alabama was kind of shaky last week against Oklahoma, so should be an interesting ball game.
And there's a team that left this conference to go have some success in another conference, University of Texas. Now they're going to play A&M, I think, in a well televised game.
Yeah. Should be a heck of a game. I mean, you know, that game is an old rivalry that gets rekindled, and it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But, you know, two teams that obviously are full of good football players, and it's going to mean a lot to both teams and both fan bases. So that should be a fun one to watch.
The last one I'll ask you, South Carolina, Clemson. It's always been a fun one for me personally, but any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I hadn't seen either one of those teams too much. I know South Carolina's got a great defensive front. So, you know, my guess is, you know, when you have a really, really good D-line like they've got, it's hard to pick against those teams. So I'd probably have to go with South Carolina.
Beautiful. Thank you for picking, Coach. I know that's not always something easy to do for a coach. Well, your 2.5-point favorites this weekend, 5 a.m. at the NIP, as we said. Before we go, most famous guy from the University of Cincinnati that you could think of?
You know, my guess would be Travis Kelce, but I'm sure there's somebody more famous.
Some guy named the Naked Cowboy. There's the George Clooney. I think some people have heard of him.
Okay.
William Howard Taft,
former
president of the United States.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So,
yeah.
All right, Coach. Good
I don't
luck.
know. I don't know who's more famous, the Naked Cowboy or former president.
It's a pretty good one. It's a pretty good one.
That's pretty
You've
rare.
seen him
That's
before,
pretty
right?
rare company.
You've seen him in person before?
I have. Yeah, I've been to New York, seen the Naked Cow. I actually got my picture with him.
Very nice. They roll it on the clip one of the days. So thanks, Coach. Happy Thanksgiving to you, and see you in Cincinnati.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
That's another episode of Stadium Frogs. Your head coach, Sonny Dykes.
Roxo Media House.